Hey, hi guys, my name is Nagashekar and you're watching me on Tech My Hair channel. So in this video, we're gonna talk about TCS TR questions that were asked for 2021 students. If you're watching our channel for the first time, please do subscribe to our channel and click bell icon for instant notifications. And please do follow us on Instagram and Telegram. Links are provided in the description. Without any delay, let's get started. Yeah, what is class and what is an object? So, as we all know that the class is a building block for any object-oriented programming language. There are so many object-oriented programming languages like Java, Python, C++. So in each and every object programming language, this class is a building block. And the class is a blueprint. Let's say if you want to construct a house, we had a blueprint. So if this is an area, so what we can do is the civil engineer will draw a blueprint with this square feet. There should be a hall, there should be a kitchen.
For all those who want to become a software developer or have just become a software developer, Unacademy brings you a platform where you can get access to weekly shows which you all can watch live. So, some of the shows that are coming soon live on Unacademy are hiring updates in startups, eligibility criteria, how to apply for them, and how to approach CodeChef, pre-placement talk with HRs from different companies, and accelerating development by using real-life projects, and how to approach CodeChef. And also we have life story of fellow coders who are working for FANG companies and many shows like that. So when you click on the link that I provided in the description, you will be redirected to Unacademy's website, just as you can see on screen. So here are the courses that I've just listed. So you can see that Project Review by Vikramaditya, World of Data Analytics, and you can also see many live shows that are coming soon and that are already started too. So you can find the date and the time that each show comes live. So you can get access to that. So all you need to do is get a subscription from Unacademy. How to do that? So when you click on get subscription, you will be redirected to the details page where the subscription is of 12 months valid, which is 1 year, and you need to pay 399. But when you use my coupon code TechMyHire, you will get 10% discount. So when you click on apply, you can see that you got 10% off, which means you need to pay only 899. So then when you click on proceed to pay, you will be making the payment, and the subscription for Unacademy will be yours. So let me tell you one of the shows among these, which is Project Review by Vikramaditya. So in this course, Raja Vikramaditya will tell you about what are the things that you have made wrong, and what are the things that you can improve regarding your projects. So he will review all your projects and will make your suggestions, and you can directly talk to Raja and get the improvements for your projects. So don't miss this golden opportunity, guys. You can get your own projects reviewed, and also you can talk to Raja, which is great thing. So get this subscription and you can access to this live show.
So this is a blueprint for constructing a house. Similarly, for any object-oriented programming language, this class is a blueprint. And if there is a blueprint, we can construct any number of houses. Let's say if this is a blueprint, we can construct 1000 number of houses. And if there is a class, we can construct 1000 number of objects. So this class is called as a blueprint, and object is called as an instance of a class. The construction of the 1000 houses is similar to the creation of objects. Okay, now this class is called as a physical entity, whereas object is called as a logical entity. So what is meant by physical entity means we can feel it and we can touch it. Let's say if there is a class called chair, we can touch the chair, we can feel it, it has some length, it has some width, whereas the object doesn't have any physical existence. The example is furniture. So we cannot see furniture, whereas we can see fan, we can see everything. Okay, now, and the syntax for creation of a class is, it's like this. We have an access specifier followed by a class keyword followed by a class name. Okay, now, so the access specifier, there in Java we have 4 access specifiers. One is public, private, protected, and default, and we can have any valid identifier for the class name. Okay, now, and in this class we can write 5 main things. First one is we can write variables. Second one is we can write methods. Third one is we can write constructors. Fourth one is we can write interfaces, and fifth one is we can write classes. So in a class we can write only these 5 things. First one is variables. We can write instance variables, we can write local variables, we can write static variables, and we can define any number of methods we want in a class. And also we can write the constructors. We can write as many constructors we want. You can write parameterized constructors, we can write default constructor, you can write whatever the number of constructors, you can write that number of constructors. And we can write interfaces inside a class, and we can write a class inside a class. A class inside a class is called as an inner class. So coming to the object, we can create object by the following syntax. First we need to write a class name and then followed by object reference, and we need to write a new keyword and then followed by a class with this parenthesis. So this is the creation of an object. When we create an object, the 3 things will happen. First thing is this new keyword will allocate memory for that object. Okay, now memory will be created in heap memory. Okay, now after the creation of memory, what it will do is it will assign that object reference to the allocated memory. Let's say this is an object, and if this address is 1040, if it is created, if some memory is created in the heap memory, then we will assign this object reference to that particular object. This is the second step, and the third step is calling of the constructor. So these 3 things will happen while we create an object. The second question is, what is the difference between stack and a queue? So basically these two are 2 data structures which we have. So first one is stack. Stack is following first in last out phenomena, whereas queue is following first in first out phenomena. And stack has a pointer called top pointer, whereas queue has a pointer called 2 pointers. One is front pointer and second one is rear pointer. And third one is the operations that are performed in the stack are push operation, pop operation and stack operation, whereas the operations that are performed on queue are NQ and DQ. Let's say if I want to insert some elements like 1, 2, 3 in this stack, first I will insert initially the top will be 0, I will increment the top by 1 and I will insert element 1. So the now top is pointing to 1. If I increment the top again to 2, I will insert the one more element. So here we are using top pointer for insertion, similarly for deletion and similarly for peek operation. Peek operation in the sense what is the topmost element that is present in the stack. Now let's talk about the insertion operator in queues. So here we had 2 pointers called front pointer and rear pointer. Initially the front pointer and rear pointer will be pointing to 0. Okay now. So if I want to insert any element, I will insert at rear end only. See, if we go to bank, all the insertions will be happening at rear end. And if you want to delete, I will delete at front end. Okay now. So if I want to insert an element, I will increment rear by 1 and I will insert the element. If I want to insert one more element, I will increment rear by 2 and I will insert. If I want to delete, what I will do is I will increment the front value and I will delete that element. Okay, these are the operations of queue. Now let's talk about the real world applications of stacks and real world applications of queues. So generally women will wear bangles, right? They wear bangles or they remove bangles. So let's say if the bangle whichever is wear first will be removed last. So this is one example of stack. Similarly, books which are placed in a container or a cupboard, or there are biscuits that are placed in a container. These are the examples. These were the layman examples of stacks. In addition to this, we have there are a few computer science examples where in JVMs we use stack. Let's say for memory allocation, there is memory called stack memory where it uses stacks. And also, if you open browsers, if you click on back, then automatically whichever the application which you are using will be popped up. So this is because of this stacks application only. And undo and redo operations in text editors like Notepad, Notepad++, Visual Studio Code are also the examples of stacks. And we have a few programming constructs like recursion, a string reversal. Let's say if I want to reverse a string called TMH. What I will do is, I will pop this T into the stack first, later I will insert H, later I will insert M. And So I will, if I pop these elements, then automatically the string reversal will be achieved. Okay, now the string reversal recursion is best example of stack where all the method calls will be stored in this stack only. Coming to the examples of queue, we all know if you go to the banks, if you go to the hospital, where first the people who are coming first will be served first. That is examples of live examples of queues, and there are some OS functionality. These are all operating system constructs where queue is being implemented. Round robin algorithms. These are scheduling algorithms, and also job scheduling algorithms. We extensively use queues. And also in networking, if I want to send a packet from one end to other end, there also a queue is being used. If there are n packets, the traversal from one end to other end, sender to receiver, will be done by using queues only. Now let's talk about what are the main concepts of object-oriented programming language. So there are three main concepts of object-oriented programming language, namely inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. These are also called as three pillars of object-oriented programming language. Okay, now, so what is meant by polymorphism in the sense, if one thing exists as many forms, is known as a polymorphism. What is meant by inheritance? Acquiring the properties of parent class to the child class is known as an inheritance. What is meant by encapsulation? Encapsulation in the sense the binding of data and methods is known as an encapsulation. In this encapsulation, we will be talking about the visibility. Okay, now. So in polymorphism, we had two types of polymorphism. One is runtime polymorphism and second one is compile time polymorphism. Whereas the inheritance is broadly classified into two types. One is is-a relationship and second one is as-a relationship. So this is-a relationship itself is called as an inheritance, and this is-a relationship is of type 5 types, where there are 5 types of is-a relationships. Single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. Whereas in this encapsulation, we will be talking about data hiding, and also we will be talking about the abstraction. These are the main constructs of object-oriented programming language. Now let's talk about how C is different from C++. So as we all know that C is called structured programming language or procedure oriented language, where everything we can write in the form of functions. Whereas the C++ is called as an object oriented programming language, where it supports many features like polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, method overloading, method overriding. All these features are being inherited from these object oriented programming principles. And C doesn't support any user defined functions or any user defined types. Let's say C only supports predefined data types like int, float, char, double, and void. Whereas C++ supports both predefined and user defined. How we define the user defined types is by using a class. We can create user defined types. And C doesn't support any function overloading or operator overloading. See, what is meant by function overloading in the sense, if both the functions will have same method signature and different parameters, then it is known as a function overloading. Whereas operator overloading in the sense, if an operator, let's say plus, if it is performing two types of operations, let's say if I give two integers, then it will perform as an addition operator. If I give two strings and if it performs as string operation, then we can say this plus operator as an operator overloading. So this both function overloading as well as operator overloading is not supported by C, whereas both the function overloading and operator overloading are supported by C++. C is subset of C++, whereas C++ is superset of C. What is meant by that? Let's say in CPP compiler, if you write C program, then without any errors, the program will be executed. Because what C is it is subset of C++. In C++, if you write C program, it will work fine. And C has only 32 keywords, whereas CPP has 63 keywords. And C supports some of the header files like stu.h, only.h, math.h, whereas CPP is having different types of header files like iostream.h. So these are the basic differences between C and CPP. So next question is, why Java is called as a platform independent language? So let's say if I write a Java program, that Java program is stored with the .java extension. We all know that. And this is called source file. So if this source file is given to the compiler, then the compiler is going to generate one file is called as a bytecode. So this bytecode, the importance of this bytecode is, this bytecode, we cannot read that bytecode, and this bytecode will not have any operating system features. Okay, now it's just the conversion of .java to a bytecode where it doesn't have any influence of the operating systems. Let's say if this is bytecode given to Windows operating system, in Windows operating system we have, if Java is installed, then we can directly execute this file, whatever the bytecode we are taken, and if you execute that, we will get the output. Similarly, if you execute the bytecode which is generated from one operating system, let's say if this entire process is done in Windows operating system, okay now, and if this bytecode is being sent to Mac operating system, and if you run that bytecode in this Mac operating system also, we will get the output. If you run this bytecode in Linux also, we will get the output, because here the Windows operating system is not having any influence on this bytecode. Okay, this bytecode is never dependent on the Windows operating system. That is the reason why if this bytecode is sent to any operating systems we have, we'll get the concerned output. Whereas the JVMs are platform dependent. Okay, now if we have Windows, the JVM is platform independent, whereas the Java is platform independent. Because this bytecode, if you can run in any operating system, it will works fine. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
So this is the weekly calendar for Unacademy's live shows. You can see that every day what are the courses that are coming live and what are the timings. So you can see that on every Sunday these are the shows that are coming live, and see for the Wednesday we have beating the odds, and for Thursday we have tips and hacks for the placements, and like this. So we have different kinds of shows for each day, and on the timings were also mentioned. So get the subscription for Unacademy and get an access to watch these shows live.